So this statement, sometimes it's asked because a majority of your ingredients or materials are coming from a foreign entity. So they just want to make sure, okay? Here we go again. Hello again, PCQI. In today's topic, we're going to be discussing importing commercial goods into Canada. So we had this question posted to us. And by the way, if you need a topic for us to add a discussion on, please email info@consultairinc.com so we can kind of add it to our list of videos that we're going to be creating. Or perhaps we already created it and basically expedite that to you. So this particular topic that we have is we have a company that's US based and basically they want to export their product into Canada. So we took a look at the requirements. I'm just going to kind of read off of those. One of it is obtain a business number. So obviously, the action items on this one is register your business. Okay, you can have the CRA's business registration online, information for the Canadian requirements, right? Identify the goods you want to import. Okay, so you're going to have to collect and provide information and records. Access the descriptive literature, product composition, information and or product samples, and then need to make a determination on the tariff clarification number. All right. You need to make a determination if you will use the services of a licensed custom broker. So you're going to need to make an assessment for those, obviously prepare documents. And if you are going to use a service broker, you need to have a release for the imported goods, paying any duties that may apply, obtaining and preparing, presenting, or transmitting the necessary documents or data, right? Of course, maintaining records and responding to any CBSA concern after payment. The next part of it is you need to determine the country of origin that you're going to be importing. So some products, obviously, they land in the United States, but they're made in Latin America or made in Asia. So you need to also declare those. And then you got to ensure the goods that you wish to import are permitted to Canada. So that's very, very important before you do everything else. Make sure they are permitted. Determine whether the goods you intend to import are subject to any permits, restriction, or regulation. So that's another part of that. We talked about the tariff classification number or harmonized system, HS codes, that you need to classify. And the tariff treatment and rate of duty. So you see a lot of taxes on this one, okay? If your goods are subject to goods and services tax, which is the GST, excise tax or excise duty, okay? And then you got to make a determination of the value of the goods that you are importing. The recommendation is make an estimate in advance how much duty and taxes you will be required to pay. So as you can see, it's all about the money, right? On this part and revenue. Place your order and select a method of shipping. So the other part of that is obviously the method of shipping if you're doing air freight, if you're just driving it across the border, or if it's going to be through shipping. Okay, and then reporting of your goods. So some of these things, I know these are a little bit confusing on filling out some paperwork and stuff. Just contact us if you need some information, but I'm just going over some of the generalities of it. You need to have getting your goods released. There are a couple of methods. One is full accounting and payment of duties for release of the goods, and then release of goods prior to the payment of duties. So you're going to have to basically sign an IOU for that. Adjusting errors in accounting information you submitted, right? So after your goods are released, you need to make adjustments. Keep all your records pertaining to the import for 6 years. That's a requirement. Be aware that your importation may be verified and adjusted by the CBSA. Okay, so some of your FSVP program, it's kind of backwards. So Canada has kind of their own FSVP program for them to accept your import. So you need to have a food defense plan that needs to be prepared. Your FSVP requirement program for that. Managing of suppliers or raw materials and packaging. Okay. Your temporary policy for emergency supplies, you need to have that prepared. and as well as your ingredients, raw materials, product, foreign supplier, importer evaluation, and obviously your checklist for for the HACCP plan and transportation agreement. Okay, be prepared for those, and as well as your supplier evaluation. So if it's coming from the US, obviously that's easy, but if you have a supplier from a different country and you're just bringing it into the US and you're reassembling it or co-packing it, co-manufacturing it, and then sending it to Canada, there's also some regulation or requirements for that. Obviously your product description, right? You need your product specifications, prepare those, and obviously your food safety team, just in case this is part of the recall and whatnot, and your verification activity worksheet. So these are some of the testing that you might need to provide or validation forms that you need to fill out. Okay. Okay. There's going to be some letters that needs to be drafted, part of your supplier requirements. So if you are working with a client in Canada, they're going to provide that for you. Your finished product COA, if you are doing some testing. Obviously, you're going to need that with the spec sheet. If your product is coming from California, make sure you have your California Transparency Supply Chain Act 2010 statement prepared, as well as your Prop 65 warranty. And then you're going to need to provide details on your coding and traceability and recall system, your lot code system, and be prepared to explain those. And a FSMA compliance statement. This is basically per customer. So sometimes they ask these and sometimes they don't. So I'm just going to let you know what we receive for that. The other part is the foreign supplier verification program compliance statement. If that, like I said, if this is coming from the US, so you're thinking, wait a minute, I'm sending it out. Why am I required for FSVP? So this statement, sometimes it's asked because majority of your ingredients or materials are coming from a foreign entity. So they just want to make sure, okay? And it depends on the customer, okay? Pallet requirements, obviously have those drafted. And policy for food safety events, like if certain things happen, what are your protocol for those? If the material is non-GMO, you're going to need a non-GMO statement. Certificate of liability insurance, depending on your product or process or customer requirements, that could be required. Obviously, we talked about specifications. And your facility registration number, country of origin certificate, bill of lading, SDS if it's applicable, or MSDS. Quality agreement, you might want to get those prepared if you are the co-man from your customer in Canada. You're going to want to have a quality agreement. So this is separate from a sales contract, okay? This is basically a line on a piece of paper, who does what, testing, product release, protocol, what if food safety event happened, who does what on each side, especially if the brand owner is Canadian. Authenticity validation test result, right? For that, hold harmless agreement, guarantee agreement, and your qualified individual for that. CBP filing, your registers, right? So all of your product that you are going to be sending through, so prepare those. And document control. So those are some of the programs and policies or procedures that are being requested by our Canadian customer requirements from our US manufacturers. So I'm sure there's other stuff there that I did not mention. These are all customized per customer requirement, as well as regulatory. So if you need any assistance on that, contact us. info@consultainc.com is where you can reach my email. You can also contact services@interlinkiq.com or services@consultainc.com. Thanks again, PCQIs. Have a great day. Contact us. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks again, PCQIs. Have a good one.